Times Now has been following the entire news break over Ishrat Jahan files and how there were two affidavits. Now we get you one more link in the entire chain of officials who handled the affidavit in 2009. There was a first affidavit in August and then a second affidavit in September 2009. And joining me this morning is A.K. Jain, former Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Home, who was also in the loop as far as the Ishrat Jahan affidavits are concerned. Good morning, Mr. Jain. Mr. Jain, can you tell us what was your role in the framing of the affidavits? There was one affidavit in August 2009 and a second affidavit in September 2009. Were you involved in drafting or in any way giving inputs to the affidavits in 2009?
No, not at all. In fact, by that time I had left the ministry, and my role was at the time when in 2004 the incident took place, and I was the Joint Secretary who was involved in processing the matter and concerned with the issue. So I had said that right from day one, the antecedents of the persons involved in the incident, there was no question about that. And the reports were very clear that they had links with the terrorist groups. And in fact, till the time I was there in 2005 end, no doubts were raised about the veracity of these reports, which we had collected from the Intelligence Bureau and as well as the state government.
So what you're saying, Mr. Jain, is in 2004, when you were in the desk in Home Ministry, it was very clear that Ishrat Jahan was an LET terrorist, and that was the input from the Intelligence Bureau that you had got, and nobody had questioned that. Is that what you're confirming to us here?
Yeah, exactly. That is precisely the point. And in fact, there were no doubts raised at that point in time. And at least till 2005, no questions were raised about that.
Where were these inputs from, Mr. Jain, where Ishrat Jahan had been declared as somebody who had links to terror groups? Where all did you get these inputs from?
We got the inputs from both the Intelligence Bureau as well as the state government of Gujarat. And both the inputs were corroborative of each other.
So you're saying the state government of Gujarat as well as the Intelligence Bureau were on the same page as far as the antecedents of Ishrat Jahan were concerned?
Exactly.
Was there any agency that had differed with the opinion of both the state government of Gujarat and the Intelligence Bureau?
Not at all.
Do you find it strange that in August 2009, the government submitted one affidavit which called Ishrat Jahan an LET operative, and then almost a month and a half later, they changed their stand and said that Ishrat Jahan was not an LET terrorist. So do you find that strange that 4 years down the line, somebody was changing the line?
Well, I do find it surprising, but I do not understand the compelling reasons why it happened. In fact, there might have been more input subsequently, I don't know. So therefore, I can't comment fully on that.
At your level, did you get any representations at that point in time from the National Advisory Council to look into this entire affair from the human rights angle?
No, not necessarily from the, in fact, too long back, but I don't remember, not necessarily from the National Advisory Council, but certainly there were references from various other sources making allegations of human rights violations on the issue. And those were
And what was your response?
Investigation. No, as per the material available on record at that point in time, and subsequently, because we had to be guided by the reports available, and there was no evidence of any human rights violation. However, that was a matter of investigation. There were a lot of complaints about it, and subsequently, I think various teams were formed under the guidance of the Honorable Court, and they made their own conclusions.
Mr. A.K. Jain, can you remember from your time in the Home Ministry in 2004 on what really was on record as far as the antecedents of Ishrat Jahan and the people, 4 people who were accompanying her? What was on record at that point in time? And did the Ministry of Home Affairs agree with the inputs that came in from both the Intelligence Bureau and the state government of Gujarat?
Yeah, it's a little long back in time, but yes, I do remember that there were clear references of the linkages of these 4 persons or 5 persons with the terrorist groups, outfits, and the fact that these people were on a mission to kill VIPs in Gujarat. And that was that. And then since the reports were corroborative of each other, there was no conflict, and especially the IB had reported very clearly that they had credible evidence about it. There was no reason to doubt that.
Did the Home Ministry on file agree with these findings? Do you remember anything that would be written in the Home Ministry files in the time that you were in the Home Ministry?
Yes.
What was said about Ishrat Jahan and her accomplices? Can you relate to us what was written in the Home Ministry files?
No, I can't remember the exact wording, what was written, but the point is that these reports were placed on record and it was seen by the higher authorities also, and that was that.
So you're saying the higher authorities in the Home Ministry, which means above the level of Joint Secretary, it would be the Additional Secretary and the Secretary and the Home Minister. Did the file go through all these 3 levels, and was it confirmed that Ishrat Jahan was an LET operative, or was there any noise of a different opinion coming from any quarters in the Home Ministry?
Yeah, I would say that, because ordinarily such references, such issues are put up to the Home Secretary, and I'm sure he would have seen it. And certainly I wouldn't have disposed it at my level, considering the sensitivity of the matter.
So, but did anybody say anything different about, the entire issue having any different connotations?
No. That's what I said earlier, that till the time I was there in the Home Ministry, late 2005, no questions were raised. I don't recall anything of that kind at any level about the veracity of the antecedents of these people and the veracity of the reports which were filed.
Mr. Jain, do you think that in the first 1.5 years of the incident taking place, no questions were raised about the veracity of the Intelligence Bureau inputs? Could questions be raised post facto on this entire issue, and does this sound something that is natural in the way files progress in the Government of India?
Yeah, ordinarily, since this issue was closed once, as far as we were concerned, the matter was closed. Once we got the reports, we placed on record, it was shown to the higher authorities, no questions were raised, and that was where the matter rested. And even subsequently, nothing happened excepting for the fact that issues were raised about the human rights violations. And that was under examination, reports were sought again, and the material available at that point in time, which could always be subject to any variations post facto if more evidence and more material comes to light. But nothing changed about so far as the question about the antecedents were concerned.
Mr. Jain, at that point, we do understand that in the Lahore-based daily of the LET Ginza Times, they also did say that Ishrat Jahan was an LET operative. Was this fact also taken on record in the Home Ministry files?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The question I'm asking you, Mr. Jain, is that the Lahore-based newspaper of the Lashkar-e-Toiba at that time in 2004 did call Ishrat Jahan a martyr belonging to the LET. Was that fact recorded on file in the Home Ministry? Do you remember, do you recall anything of that sort?
No, I won't remember that detail, but there was a report certainly, and that did spell out about the antecedents. But I won't recall the specific aspect which you're asking about.
Okay, Mr. Jain, anything specific other than the fact that Ishrat Jahan was an LET operative? Do you recall at that point in time something that caught your attention in the files relating to Ishrat Jahan?
No, as I said, accepting that the report did mention that they were on a mission to kill VIPs, and that was significant enough. These were the two main issues, and the fact that these people were intercepted at the outskirts of Ahmedabad, an encounter took place and these people got killed.
All right.